Today we will explore true facts about Alexander. Wait, not that Alexander. Here we go. It's Alexander. Okay, let's just start over. Today we will explore true facts about Alexander Hamilton before the Revolutionary War. Before Alexander was born, his mom, Rachel Fawcett, married Johann Michael Lavian in 1747 after meeting in St. Croix. But it was never a good marriage. Lavian faked his wealth to make Rachel's mom want her daughter to marry him. In reality, his goal was to take all her money she had inherited from her father. Rachel did not even want to marry Lavian, especially since he was 12 years older than her. To make a long story short, his plan worked and he blew through all her money. By 1750, Rachel left Lavian, leaving her new son Peter with him. Lavian was livid and put his wife in jail, because that was legal in 1750. Fortunately, after months in jail, she escaped to the island of St. Kitts. She made money by sewing and hiring out the labor of the enslaved people she'd inherited from her father, according to this book, Alexander Hamilton Revolutionary, by Martha Brockenbrough. In the early 1750s, Rachel met James Hamilton in St. Kitts. They fell in love but could not marry because Rachel had already been married to Lavian and divorce was illegal. They moved to Nevis together, which was 90% slaves at that time, and otherwise filled with outlaws, pirates, and people trying to make money on sugar. Around 1753, James Hamilton and Rachel had their first son together, James Hamilton Jr. Then, on January 11, 1755, Alexander was born on Nevis. Growing up, he had always loved the concept of dueling to fight for honor, and he wanted to become an honored man when he grew up. He'd show everyone what he was really made of, it says in this book. Interesting, because later in life, his son died in a duel, and he died in a duel. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That is called foreshadowing. As a child, he learned fluent French, Spanish, Portuguese, Hebrew, and Spanish. Wait, I already said that. He had 34 books, and not Marvel superhero-y comic books, but books about history, political philosophy, and the art of writing. You've been watching True Facts about Alexander Hamilton. Let's continue. A month after he turned 13, Rachel and Alexander both got diagnosed with yellow fever, a condition that causes vomiting, chills, and headache. If yellow fever is severe, then the skin and the eyes turn yellow. I don't want to show pictures of real people with yellow fever because it's really gross and it gives me nightmares. But if you really want to see it, I won't look. There, now let's get back to history. Courtesy of this fever, Alexander suffered kidney ailments for the rest of his life. On February 19, 1768, Rachel Fawcett died at 9 p.m. Fortunately, for American history, Alexander survived yellow fever. By 10 p.m., all of Rachel's belongings were taken away to eventually give to her legal heir. According to the law at the time, when a mother dies, everything in her possession goes to her legitimate children, which in Rachel's case was Peter Lavian. James Jr. and Alexander were not considered valid by the church, which was law. The legal paperwork described them as obscene children, since they were born to an unmarried woman. This is also why Alexander and James were not allowed to go to school. You may think it's great not to go to school, but imagine this. He can't go to school, he's an orphan, he's homeless, and his stepbrother just took all his books and belongings. Between 1769 and 1770, Alexander and James Jr. moved in with their cousin, Peter Lytton, different Peter. Unfortunately, he committed suicide because of his financial problems. They moved in with their Uncle James, Peter Lytton's father. When he died, the boys still had nothing and received nothing. Soon after, Alexander found a job at a shipping company called Beekman and Kruger. In 1771, when his boss, Nicholas Kruger, got sick, 16-year-old Alexander ran the company for a few months and received quite an education. Then a hurricane came on August 31st, 1772. In Alexander's letter to his dad, James Hamilton, he wrote, "Good God, what horror and destruction! It's impossible for me to describe, or you to form any idea of it. It seemed as if a total dissolution of nature was taking place." His letter was published in the Gazette, and people were so impressed by his writing skills, even the governor. No one could believe the author was only 17. When Nicholas Kruger saw the letter, he started a scholarship to send Alexander to school in New York City. That fall, Alexander immigrated to the colonies on a ship. Unfortunately, that ship caught fire along the way. Seriously, can you believe that? Luckily, they were able to put out the fire and make it to Boston. He could have died on that ship, but he took action. As you can see, there is a pattern of Alexander surviving and thriving. This is how Alexander Hamilton do. You've been watching True Facts about Alexander Hamilton before the Revolutionary War. This video has been supported by the Blue Cup Company, serving blue cups 24/7 year-long. Buy yours now. It is very fun to drink from. In late 1773, Alexander entered King's College, which was actually run by Loyalists and is now called Columbia University. His first choice for college was the College of New Jersey, which is now Princeton University and where James Madison went. He did not go to the College of New Jersey because they would not let him do a fast track. In his free time, he formed a debate club, which may have started and sharpened his arguments for liberty leading up to the Revolution. He often gathered in the Common, which was only a block from his school and full of revolutionary thinking and patriots. Once the British Parliament started taxing to get money from the colonies, Alexander decided to take action again. In a speech at the Liberty Pole at the Common, he condemned the British for closing Boston's port after a tea protest. He urged his fellow colonists to protest the unjust taxes. He called for a boycott of British goods, something that would make the colonists suffer, but would cause even more pain to the British, according to this book. This important speech may have been one of the initial sparks of our American Revolution. That is only a fraction of the story of young Alexander Hamilton before the Revolutionary War. For his entire life story, read Alexander Hamilton Revolutionary by Martha Brockenbrough. Just remember, even if you've been dealt truckloads full of manure in life, at least you didn't catch yellow fever, which left you with lifelong kidney ailments. Lose your mother to yellow fever, leaving you a homeless orphan, and suffer through a hurricane to finally escape an island when your boat catches fire. Someday you could be a survivor like Hamilton and become famous enough to have your face on a $10 bill and represent an entire Broadway play. Thank you for watching True Facts about Alexander Hamilton before the Revolutionary War.
Just
blah,
start
blah.
talking.
What?
Just start talking in your normal voice so that make sure we can hear you.
Okay, so today we'll explore true facts about that.
Just keep talking. Just do the beginning.
Okay, like in my normal voice.
In a little bit of a louder voice, because I think we're going to have it a little
Today
bit louder.
we'll explore.
Not like that. It has to be comfortable to speak.
Okay.
Today we will explore true facts.
Today we will explore true facts about Alexander Hamilton before.
Okay.
Today, okay. Underwater. Rachel did not even want to marry Lavien, especially since he was 12 years older than her. Rachel did not even want to marry Lavien, especially since he was 12 years older than her. I keep saying older than her. Rachel did not even want to marry Lavien, especially since he was 12 years older than her. To make a long story short, his plan worked and he blew through all his money. Her money. Then a hurricane came on August 31st, 1772. That fall, Alexander immigrated.
Dude.
I dropped it. Okay, let's start again.